Pain in my heart is what I feel when I read the new details for the LR Rubrian trio. Shout out to Slay Bix over on Twitter. He did predict this, even though the unit is terrible. You know, we got to give him his flowers. I also dropped a video yesterday, talking about which new characters could drop, and I did mention the Rubrian trio, and it's like, I was genuinely excited for this character. If it were to be a thing, right? I was excited for this because I feel like this is a great way to introduce a different named Tournament of Power character other than Goku or Frieza or Gohan or whatever the case was. But for them to actually be good, right? To give genuine option to the team. And this is not it, dude. Let's talk about this, right? Because what makes a character good in Dokkan is when they don't have to depend on extremely specific circumstances, or for them to depend on chances in their kit for them to be good. When a character is just good start of turn without these different things proccing, that's what, you know, could make it for a really, you know, competent character. And then anything additionally, or anything on top of that, of course, just adds more value to this character. This LR Ribrianne character, like, or this unit, at base, they have 3 key and 122% of stats. 3 key and 122% of stats. If we take an actual look at it, that's almost essentially it. And the reason why I say that is because activates entrance animation upon entry once only if there are 2 or more tournament participants category allies on the team other than this character. And while that's very easy to do, the fact is that if at this character's worst, without 2 or more tournament participant category allies, she is not getting an extra 3 key for 3 turns. She is not changing almost every orb into tech. So this first part, at her worst, at their worst, she's just at right now 3 key and 122% of stats, right? She changes STR key spheres to tech key spheres. This medium chance, let's just take a look at this character at their worst and then, you know, analyze them at their best. So at their worst, this medium chance to change ATO key spheres doesn't really proc. At their worst, this medium chance to change physical key spheres doesn't proc, right? So again, we're just at 3 key, 122% of stats, and changes STR key spheres to tech key spheres. That is, at worst, what this character is doing so far out of all of this text, right? Perform an additional attack that has a high chance to become a super attack if HP is 66% or above. So, worst case scenario, you just perform an additional normal attack. Perform an additional attack that has a great chance to become a super attack if there's another Universe Survival Saga category ally attacking in the same turn. Again, worst case scenario, you don't even get that because, like, this is conditional upon having a specific category ally, which again is very easy to do. But I'm looking at this character at base. I'm looking at this character right now. We'll look at her and how good she could be with everything active. But just like looking at this character with assuming, let's say someone's new to the game and they don't really have any other Universe Survival Saga or TOP characters. All she has so far, we're right here, right? This is where we are in the passive. And right now she has 3 key, 122% of stats, changes STR key spheres to tech key spheres, and she has she's performing additional normal attack. That's what she's doing so far. Gain additional 2 key, and when attacking, gain additional attack and defense was 122%, and reduces damage received by 22% when collecting 2 or more type key spheres. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but at her worst, there has been many times where I'm playing Dokkan, I can literally only collect 1 key sphere, or 2, one being rainbow, the other one being a different type of key sphere, right? So it's like, it's possible to not, it's actually possible in a rotation, especially when you consider her worst, to not get any of this. So, and of course, it's when attacking, right? So it's like, I don't know. Chance to perform a critical hit plus 22% for every 2 key spheres obtained, a max of 66. At base, this character is without a doubt the worst character to release in Dokkan in a very, very, very long time. 3 key, 122% of stats, orb changer for one type of key sphere, performing an additional attack, and then what else? A chance to crit, and then 22% damage reduction. Even if we were to include this, she still sucks. 22% damage reduction with 122% to defense. You're getting one shot in most events. It's just the way it is, right? But let's take a look at this character at her absolute best, right? Because at her worst, at her base level, with nothing else, actually proccing or without anything else being active, she sucks, all right? Okay, so at her absolute best, let's see what she's doing. So at her absolute best, you have at least 2 tournament participant category allies, and let's assume that one of those are Universe Survival Saga to activate this part of her kit, okay? So at the start of turn, she's changing practically every orb into tech, right? Because she's changing STR key spheres into tech, and she's changing STR, AGL, and physical for one turn. So start of turn, right? Every single orb on the field seems to be tech. Unless I'm reading it wrong, every orb on the field seems to be tech. Gain key 3, and yeah, so she's gonna have actually 6 key, 122% to stats, and a full field of tech key spheres at her disposal. Medium chance to change AGL key spheres to tech, which again doesn't really matter for the first turn, but it's still nice to have, right? Because if both of these actually activate, you're gonna have a lot of tech key spheres on rotation. Perform an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super attack if HP is 66% or above. So at best, she's performing 2 super attacks, right? Perform an additional attack that has a great chance to become a super attack if there is which again we already talked about is there. So at best, she'll have 6 key, 122% to stats, almost a full field of tech key spheres, and she can perform 2 additional super attacks. And all of those are actually raising her attack and defense for one turn. So she's looking a little better, obviously. Gain 2 key, and when attacking, 122% to stats, and reduce damage received by 22%. So she's at, 244% to attack and defense, 6 key for the first few turns, 22% damage reduction, and max of 66% chance to crit, right? That's still bad. You want me to tell you why? Because this is not a slot 1 character, okay? Even if she looks decent, this is not a character you say, let me put in slot 1. Which, you want to know why that's actually bad? Is because Ribrianne is changing the entire field of orbs into tech. But if you put her in slot 1, even with this buff, she's getting one shot. So it's like you have to put someone else in slot 1, which at that point, they collect all the key spheres, right? So Ribrianne at the end of the day is left with almost nothing. It's like, it's a joke of a character, in my opinion. I don't know, like, let's try and fix this character, right? I think the orb changing thing, I mean, this first part is fine. What makes it just bad, right? The orb changing is just the rest of the kit not really being able to support that. So I think 3 key for 3 turns is fine. 3 key, I mean, this number is not bad. It's just when you look at everything else she's doing, it's just not great. On top of that, with all the orbs that she's, making, I was expecting her kit to be more based on collecting orbs. Someone similar to the tech androids that are getting this buff here and this buff there and this buff here with a certain amount of key spheres obtained. The only part of her kit that has to do anything with collecting key spheres is the last 2 lines, right? So it's like, let's think about this. So 3 key, 122% is fine, okay? Changes STR key spheres to tech, fine. Make this a high chance. Anything below 50% is just bad, right? High chance here, high chance here. I'll take that. Perform an additional super attack. If we're gonna keep this at 122%, this right here, this first super attack, if you're above 66% HP, should be guaranteed. This next one, leave it at great. That's fine for me, right? And then let's talk about this. If you collect 2 or more key spheres, it should be this. If you collect 2 or more key spheres, you automatically get 122% to attack and defense and 22% damage reduction. That should just be it. It should not be one attacking, right? Because now, if I'm getting attacked in the first slot, I don't even have the buff yet. You have to attack, apparently. I don't know if this is when you collect key spheres or when the attack phase actually, you know, begins. So it just sounds bad, but it could be that once you collect your orbs, you know, it kind of kicks in, which I don't really think it does, but, you know, let's see. But again, when you collect 2 or more key spheres, attack and defense was 120% and 22% damage reduction. When you collect 5 or more key spheres, it should be attack and defense was 122% and an extra 22% damage reduction. When you collect 7 or more key spheres, it is, let's say, guaranteed crit and all tournament participant category allies 3 key and 22% or 2 key and 22% to attack and defense for 2 turns. Right? LR Bulma, right? What's wrong with that? And it, you know, it's a worse support than Bulma, but at least it's something where she'll be able to actually make use of all those orbs. So again, on this character is, if she had again with 2 key spheres obtained, 122% to stats, 22% damage reduction. With 5 key spheres obtained, again, literally the same thing, 122% to stats, 22% damage reduction, which at that point, with 5 key spheres obtained, she'd be at 44% damage reduction and 366% to attack and defense. And then with just 2 more key spheres obtained, again, guaranteed crit, for the turn, obviously, guaranteed crit, which again could apply to every other attack, right? She's guaranteed to crit for the entire turn, and then all tournament participant category allies 2 key and 22% to attack and defense for 2 turns. And even at that point, I can see how someone would say it's not really that great, but it's a lot better than what we're being shown right here. So let me know what you think. How do you feel? Again, I don't really care. I know she has a giant form. Okay. So let me know what you think. Yeah, again, I don't know why. I just wonder who is cooking. Like, who are they telling to go into the kitchen to make these characters, man? I don't know. I'll see you in the next one. Take care and peace.